An MSNBC host was just fired because he told the truth about Charlie Kirk. And I have that statement from the man who was fired. I have MSNBC's response to it. And I have a lot of right-wing commentators increasing the violence and the rhetoric around what happened with Charlie Kirk. And I just want to talk about, in this video, about the hypocrisy about what's happening here. Because the right is fanning the flames of political violence, and the left is trying to tamper it down or just talk about what got us to this point. And before I show you that clip, I want to just point out that political violence is an issue in this country, but there's only one side that is actually creating it and stoking it. Here's from Mehdi Hassan. The man who targeted and killed Democratic State Rep Melissa Hortman was a Trump supporter. The man who targeted the home of Democratic Governor Josh Shapiro was a Trump supporter. The men who wanted to hang Mike Pence on January 6th were Trump supporters. The man who was targeted and killed the son of Obama-appointed District Judge Esther Salas was a Trump supporter. The man who tried to kidnap Nancy Pelosi and insulted her husband was a Trump supporter. The men who convicted trying to kidnap Dem Governor Gretchen Whitmer were Trump supporters. The man who sent pipe bombs to the homes of Obama and Biden was a Trump supporter. There is no equivalent or even a similar list of Obama or Biden supporters who have carried out similar murders, attempted murders, or violent attacks. Let's keep that in mind as we go through the rest of these clips. Because here is Alex Jones on the news of Charlie Kirk. Here is Steve Bannon on the news of Charlie Kirk.
We're in a war. The left has been saying put a bullseye on Trump, a bullseye on his supporters.
Charlie Kirk's a casualty of war.
They're calling it war. Here's what Jesse Waters of Fox News said.
This hits differently because Charlie was one of us. And Trump gets hit in the ear. Charlie gets shot dead. They came after Kavanaugh with a rifle to his neighborhood. They went after Musk's cars. They just shot 2 Jews outside the embassy. Think about it. Scalise got shot, barely survived. It's happening. You got trans shooters. You got riots in LA. They are at war with us.
There were no riots in LA. There were no riots. There were protests in a very small, confined area in downtown Los Angeles. There were no riots. We know the person who shot Donald Trump was politically unaligned. He voted for the president. He supported the president. He was just someone who wanted to make their mark on the world, not a progressive or a Democrat.
Whether we want to accept it or not, they are at war with us. And what are we going to do about it? How much political violence are we going to tolerate? And that's the question we're just going to have to ask ourselves. Now, Charlie would want us to put as much pressure on these people as possible. Dana nailed it. This is unacceptable and has to stop. And it has to stop now. And everybody's accountable. And we're watching what they're saying on television and who's saying what.
Well, when you're calling it a war, what are you trying to do? What are you trying to do? And again, I've said this in other videos. I'm going to say again in this one. We don't fucking know who the person was. We don't know the motives. It could very well be, we don't know. I'm just going to throw out a theory. It could be someone paid by Russia to create more political violence and tension in the country. Probably not, but it could be. That theory is just as sound as any other. But to just make the broad assumption that this is a Democrat or a progressive who is trying to take out a political opponent is also just as crazy when we know nothing. This is so irresponsible to be saying to millions and millions of people.
Politicians, the media, and all these rats out there. This can never happen again. It ends now. Greg's right again. This is a turning point.
Now, TMZ actually laughed about it.
Go to have somebody look at the Fox Trump.
Trump just posted that he's dead.
Let's get it up.
Trump just posted that Charlie Kirk is dead.
All right.
Janet, go to.
That's awful. Whoever was cheering or laughing, they should be fired. They should be fired. But this MSNBC host, here's what he said. This caused MSNBC to fire him.
But following up what was just said, he's been one of the most divisive, especially divisive younger figures in this, who is constantly sort of pushing this sort of hate speech or sort of aimed at certain groups. And I always go back to hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, which then lead to hateful actions.
Here was MSNBC's response. Statement from MSNBC President Rebecca Cutler. During our breaking news coverage of the shooting of Charlie Kirk, Matthew Dowd made comments that were inappropriate, insensitive, and unacceptable. We apologize for his statements, as has he. There is no place for violence in America, political or otherwise. Let's just listen to that one more time, can we?
But following up what was just said, he's been one of the most divisive, especially divisive younger figures in this, who is constantly sort of pushing this sort of hate speech or sort of aimed at certain groups. And I always go back to hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, which then lead to hateful actions.
That's a true statement. That's a true statement. When you raise the level of the vitriol of what you're saying, it has a way of raising the temperature. And the thing is, you don't know whose temperature you're raising. Now, we don't know who did this or why, okay? But what he's saying is not untrue. We have a lot of examples of Charlie Kirk saying things that are not great. Does he deserve to drive for it? Of course not. Of course not. But does this man deserve to be fired for speaking plainly on the truth of what this type of stuff can lead to? Of course not. And then here is Nancy Mace never misses a beat to make it about her and to be the worst person alive.
I'm going to say this. Democrats own what happened today. I am devastated. My kids have called panicking. All the kids of every conservative in the country call panicking. Just because you speak your mind on an issue doesn't mean you get shot.
Then by that logic, do Republicans own the shooting of the two Democratic lawmakers in Minnesota? Isn't this on both sides?
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm asking.
We don't know what condition Charlie Kirk is in right now. Some raging leftist lunatic put a bullet through his neck, and you want to talk about Republicans right now? No.
No, I'm asking.
No, not at all.
You said the Democrats have donated to.
But Democrats own this.
But isn't there a problem with political violence across the spectrum?
Yeah, we're talking about Charlie Kirk right now. That's the subject of this that we're talking about right now. Democrats own this 100%.
I wish he would have pointed out that we don't know who did this or their motives or their political affiliation. We don't know. We may never know. Kash Patel's on the case, and you let me know if you think that gives you any confidence. I'm just going to do this. This is where it's all heading. Laura Loomer gave a long missive, but she said she's in the president's ear. The best way President Donald Trump can reinforce Charlie's legacy is by cracking down on the left and the full force of the government. Every single left-wing group that funds violent protests needs to be shut down and prosecuted. No mercy. Jail every single leftist who makes the threat of political violence. What she's saying here is jail anyone who disagrees with the president and who uses their First Amendment rights to speak against this administration. And I think that's where this is all heading, personally. So, anyways, we're going to keep following this. We aren't going to be afraid to say the truth on this channel. So if you want to keep supporting the truth, please do hit like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.